And we are going to dive in. Let's see. Yeah, this screen right here. All right. So welcome to our office hours this week, Thursday. I am excited to step through the EventStream platform, give you guys a look at how I would use it and how it's set up to be used effectively for a virtual gala, virtual event. And I am going to open my chat window, recording this meeting also, if I can find my chat window, here it is. Let's see, there we go. And I'll have my chat open and I can answer questions as you guys have them. If I say something or I miss something that you want me to cover, then you can go ahead and just chat that in the window and I'll be able to answer that question quickly. And let's go ahead and, but first, diving right in, what I want to do is set up and run a virtual event and how that would look, how that would go down on a Saturday night, and what that would look like. So first things first, I got to have live auction items. And when you use the EventStream service, you know, typically one of the values or one of the benefits of using EventStream is that you can set up live auction items that can be auctioned off in real time. So if you have an auctioneer or an MC that is going to be live, they can offer up 3, 4, 5, 6, a dozen auction items that can be bid on from home. And as we get back into in-person, they can be auctioned off in person as well as from home. So you can bring both people together to bid on auction items. And so, but in order to set them up, you need to have a couple of toggles switched and so on. So I'm going to add a new auction item. And I'm going to say, let's call it the signed coffee mug. It's going to be item number 111, and I'm going to make it active. Now, when I set a closing time with a silent auction item, this is obviously really important because this is when we're going to let people bid up until, but with a live auction, we're actually going to start and stop the bidding on the fly because we know that the live auction is going to happen on Saturday night from 7:45 till 7:55-ish. That's when it's slated, but we don't know when each individual auction item is going to start and stop. So as long as your closing time is just in the future of that, we will handle the opening and closing of those items manually. And so I'm going to set this, today's the 4th, yes, all day. So I'm going to set that to 11:55 tonight. So that'll be plenty of time for us to open, allow for bidding, and then close the item. And then I want to come down to the item type, and I'm going to set that to an item type live. Now, we've had the live item type for a long time, and the way that that's worked is we put it out there for people to look at. At the event, people will, one more person. At the event, people will bid on it, and then we record in ClickBid the winning bid or winning bids, if you sold 2 of them, in the system, and then those 2 are charged. But the only 2 bids on that item are the winning bids. With the EventStream service, it's treated almost exactly like a silent item. There could be 30 bids, but the winning bid is the only one that matters and is the only one that gets checked out. So what we want to do to designate between the 2 is use this new drop-down called Allow Live Bids, and we want to set that to yes. What it does is if you caught that, it actually popped open a few more boxes here. You have a market value. Let's say the market value on my signed coffee mug, whoever signed it's pretty important. We're going to say it's worth at auction $5,000. Signed by Jeff Bezos, who's leaving the CEO of Amazon as the CEO of Amazon. So it's going to be really valuable. Now, when I set a starting bid and a minimum increment, I usually will consult with the auctioneer, and they'll give me a good idea of where they want to start. But I'm setting this up on a Thursday afternoon, and so I'm not talking to my auctioneer, so I want to kind of get a good ballpark. What I usually recommend is somewhere between 40 and 50% of the fair market value. So if you know that the goal at auction is to get $5,000, I might set the starting bid at 2,000, a good round number. And then my increments, I may choose to do $250. And so if I put in $250 increments, then if I get anywhere between 10 and 15 bids, I'll land right around that $5,000–6,000 mark. So usually you see, add one more person here to the meeting. We have, let's say I get 10 bids, that's going to be $2,500. I'm going to be right in that 4,500 range. So hopefully I can get, another handful of bids and we'll be at the 5,000. That's typically how I look at, starting bids and increments. Again, an auctioneer will probably change this or maybe have different ideas, but it's good to get a ballpark, because when you open the event or open the auction item, if you've left it at the default value, it's going to be priceless for the market value, $1 for the starting bid and $1 for the increment. We definitely don't want that. So that helps us get kind of in that range. And that's really all I need to do. I can add exceptions, descriptions, image, I can drop an image in there. So very much like any other auction item in the system. So I'm ready. I'm going to go back. And now I have some auction items that are going to be available for bid during the live portion of our virtual gala. In order to confirm that I have everything set up right, I can go to the tags column in the manage items and I can type in the word EventStream, and it's going to pull up all of my auction items that have an EventStream tag. And an item will have this EventStream tag if I've set it to live as an item type, and I've said that I want to allow live bids. So now I have, looks like 5 items. It says 5 items down there, and the only one that's open is the signed coffee mug. So I could go ahead and open these. I'm just going to do that for our demo. This is I recycle these items every week. So for the sake of having them open, I'll just set them active with a closing time of tonight. And there we go. So now they're all active and ready to go. So we're gonna kind of pivot from auction items. Now we're going to talk about the actual live broadcasts, because we have the items set up. Once we're ready to do the actual live auction, we want to have the auctioneer tuned in, ready to go. We're having them maybe call in from Zoom. Maybe I have them in studio and I've got a camera turned at them. If I have a live event, maybe this fall, I have somebody from the AV department that's using at the hotel that we're using. They have a camera that's set up, and I want to send that to everybody at home who didn't attend. Then we need to get that set up. So when you've got EventStream active in your account, if you go under the Event Central tab, so we move down from items, then we come down here to the live broadcast. Live broadcast is kind of the landing page or the hub of how you set up your live broadcast. Now, what ClickBid offers with EventStream, just to reiterate, is we offer a channel. Just like ESPN is a channel, or CNN is a channel, or HGTV is a channel. That's what we're offering. What you choose to put on that channel, the programming, is completely up to you. So our goal at ClickBid is to provide you a very, very fast, high speed, high bandwidth, highly available channel, so that whatever you put out there can get to the people who are watching it quickly, so that you can run a live auction and not have to wait 20, 30 seconds after you say something as the auctioneer for people to respond, which never works really well for anything like a live auction or a raise the paddle or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is break this page down a little bit. We have 3 sections. This is the privacy settings. This is the weekly office hours, where you can sign up for our weekly Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then we have how do you plan to send video to your EventStream channel? So this is kind of the $1 million question. We want to talk about, we have 4 options. You have the web browser, which is about the easiest thing in the world that you could do. You would just open the broadcast channel, and then you could just hit start, and now you're broadcasting your live video from your web camera that's connected to your computer. Or if you have a really, nice external camera that you've plugged in or so on and so forth, you can do that. That's probably the easiest way to do it. You don't need any codes. You don't need settings or anything like that.
I'm sorry to jump in there, Matthew. Can you just show me that again real quick?
The web browser. How do you plan to send video to your EventStream channel? Under web browser, you can just go ahead and press Open Broadcaster, and it identifies your camera, and bingo.
Okay, if I'm going to be using OBS.
Yep.
Just click on OBS then, right?
Yep, which is what I'm going to go to next.
Okay, I'm sorry, I got ahead of the game.
No, that's okay. So if you don't want to use the web browser, or you've got something a little bit more advanced, like let's say I'm going to be showing a video clip, I'm going to do a countdown before the program starts, I'm going to have a live auctioneer that's going to be coming in through Zoom or Skype. Then you want to use a software program to bring all of those elements together and send them to your channel as one consistent stream. That would be the OBS software. Now, when you learn a little bit about the ClickBid EventStream from one of our other staff, one of the things we really we're really proud of is the low latency, which means the time that it takes me to say something, go through my web camera out to the internet and back out to your computer screen, is that time is called latency. How long does that take? And we've partnered with a company called Millicast out of California, and we've gotten that down to half a second, so 500 milliseconds. And so what's great about that is it allows us to treat our event stream kind of like a Zoom call. We can communicate in real time, so an auctioneer can be looking at a screen, watching bids come in, and immediately respond to them without any real delay. And so in order for that to happen, you have to use this tab here. There's nothing magical about this tab. It's just, this is the information that you would need. You would want to download a copy of OBS, which stands for Open Broadcast Software. It's a freely available software program. I compare it a lot to PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint. But the company that provides our streaming has created their own version of OBS software to support that almost no latency video. If you use the publicly available OBS that you can get online at obsproject.com, your delay will be somewhere between 2 and 5 seconds. But because they've modified the publicly available version into their own, you get that delay down to half a second. So ultimately, what I'm saying is, in a nutshell, you would go to this tab and you would download either the Mac version for your Mac, or you would download the Windows version for your Windows machine. It's the same software, just tweaked a little bit under the hood to handle our high-speed protocols. And then you'll want to take note under here that you have a stream name, a publish token, and a viewer link. This viewer link is what you might send somebody if they wanted to watch this on their TV, or if you wanted to share this on another web page that's not related to ClickBid. We're actually coming out with an update in about a week that will shorten this link down a little bit, add a few more little bells and whistles, but it'll all still be here. The reason I call out the stream name and the publish token is you need to tell Open Broadcasting Software where to send your video. It's kind of like putting a letter in the mail. If you don't put an address on it, the Postal Service has no idea where to send it. And so you've got to do the same thing with Open Broadcasting Software. You have to, once you hit start streaming, Open Broadcast Software has to know where to send your video and how to log in. So that way it can drop it in the right place so everybody at your event can see your video. So let's pretend I just clicked and downloaded that. I'm going to open the OBS software, and I'm going to see here that I have, normally this would be a very blank space. You have a big window here that would be black with nothing in it. You have two columns on the left-hand side. One of them is called scenes, the other one's called sources. You have a middle section called audio mixer, and then you have a controls panel. So I'll break a little bit of this down for you. First, we want to make sure that we send our video to the right place. We put the right address in. So under the settings button, We just need to connect our version of OBS on our computer in anywhere USA. We want to connect it to the right location. So we choose the stream button, second one down. After pressing settings, we press stream. And then it wants a stream name and a publishing token. And sure enough, I have a stream name and a publishing token. You can just go ahead and click on copy. It'll copy it to your clipboard, and then you can paste it right in there. And then you can also copy your publishing token. And let me just get rid of what's in there, and then boom, paste it right in there. And then you can go ahead and hit OK.
Can I ask you a quick question? Where
Yeah.
where did you get the Millcast? If you go back to that previous screen.
Under stream, Millicast is just automatically selected.
It's automatically selected. Okay, gotcha.
Yep, and this is the latest version. The folks at Millicast have gone ahead and they continue to update and maintain the platform, and they they maintain the platform, and they keep coming out with new versions, a little bit better, and then this latest version has Millicast automatically selected. If you're using one of the older versions, you might have to choose it from a drop down. There were maybe 4 or 5 options. And so that's what this right here, this screen, is why we recommend, or why we need you to download the version that we're providing on ClickBid's website, because it has this option. There's a very long technical term describing the difference between WebRTC and RTMP that I won't go into, but this is what is provided by that customized version. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And then I have scenes and sources. Remember when I said that I compare OBS to PowerPoint. So in scenes would be a lot like creating a slide. And then sources are the different layers that you put within each slide. So let's say I want to do a waiting slide. And it says, I want it to say, our program will begin soon. So if my broadcast starts tonight at 7, it's 6:45. I might want to start with a program beginning soon screen. So what I can do is I can take my scene and I can hit enter, type in the word waiting. This way I can name them the way that I want. So when I'm running my program, I'll know which slide or which scene to go to in which order. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a plus button down here, and I'm going to choose, you have a bunch of different options that you can add to your OBS broadcast. So I just picked a color source. You can see here, that's my color source. I did that first, then I picked this color. I'm going to select, for our demo, I'll pick this color, super bright. Ooh, wow, okay. Maybe not that. That's pretty intense. Let's turn it down a little bit. And then I picked a text element. So I went under the plus symbol and I chose text. And then when I get it in here, I can choose a font style. I can type whatever text I want. I can make it bigger, smaller. What's nice is that you get these boxes, this red box around your layer, just like in PowerPoint. You can click and drag all of this anywhere you want. You can scale it by putting your mouse over the corner. If you hold down, I believe it's the Alt Option key, you can crop. So if you've got a Zoom meeting and you want to crop out the bottom or the top, so where where those control buttons are, you can crop out the top and the bottom so that they don't show up. You can do all kinds of cool stuff, a lot like you can with PowerPoint. Every time we use PowerPoint, we know we're not using all the features. It's the same thing with OBS. It's very, very well-developed platform. And then I have another text layer on here where I'm just kind of goofing around, seriously, just a few more minutes kind of thing. So I've got my first slide, or my first scene built, scene slide, I interchange those. And then I'm just going to press start streaming. Now, as long as I put in the right credentials, you're just going to get just a stop streaming. It's going to switch from start to stop. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a new tab. I'm going to go to my website, my event website, and I'm going to log in. And what will happen is, because I'm already broadcasting, after a few seconds, my page is going to look for and locate my stream. I'm going to mute it so that way if I do have some audio come in, I don't get a bunch of feedback. But now I have my program, it's running. And you can see here, if I have OBS, I'm going to try to fit these both on the same screen here. I have what I've got in this canvas. Everything that's in this canvas is going to broadcast, is going to my channel. So I've gone ahead, I have an event coming up on Saturday. We have a service at ClickBid. It's a full production service where we'll produce the entire event. We'll help you shoot all the video, we'll edit the video, put together the timeline, all the elements, and then we'll actually run OBS for you on the night of the event. So I've put together a countdown, and I have, I've done a little animation, and it's 10 minutes long, and it's basically just a, sponsor loop. So instead of having that green screen with "our program will begin soon," I jazzed it up a little bit with some, facts, some sponsor logos, some sponsorship levels, thanks to donors and parents and things like that. So this will run for 10 minutes. And then when it gets to, and you'll notice, you can see here the delay is really short. So you'll watch after, we've got 9:22. So you got a little bit of a delay. So what's happening here is we're seeing our video leave my computer, go out to the internet, and then back to my computer as if I'm a bidder over on this screen right here. So if I were on my phone, this would look like, like a YouTube app where the video is playing at the top of the screen and then the bottom 2/3 are open for bidding. So then I've got, once we count down to 0, I'm going to have a little opener, and it's going to, you can see we've got this going on, and then I'm going to jump to my auctioneer. Now, right now, I don't have my auctioneer set up, but this scene is basically set up to handle a Zoom call. Now, the way that, I don't have my other computer in here, the way that it works is, if you want to do Zoom, this gets asked a lot, is how do I get, what if I've got a couple of keynote speakers and an auctioneer that's going to call in via Zoom? The safest and easiest way, and I say safest so that from a technical standpoint, is to have a second laptop next to you that's dedicated to running the Zoom call. That's all it's going to do, is you're going to launch the Zoom call. People are going to join the Zoom call just like you guys did here today. I happen to be using the same computer, so I want to be, just so that I have it for this office hours. But normally on Saturday night, for instance, I'm going to have my auctioneer call in, and I'm going to have him call into my Windows machine, and then I'm going to take all of that video from my Windows machine and send it through a cable into OBS on my other machine. So what's going to happen is OBS is going to look at my laptop and say, oh, you're just another web camera with some audio. And so you can see here, I have a video capture device in OBS. Let me make this a little bit bigger. I went plus video capture device. And in here, I chose USB camera. And that's what I connected to my computer from my Zoom computer. So my Zoom computer is sending to my OBS computer, and then I created an audio input capture of the same location. So there is one other step you need to do, and that is you need to get what's called a video capture card, which you can buy online. I bought mine at Amazon for like $25. It looks just like this. In fact, if I unplug the two cables, it looks, whew, I'll drop it. Those slippery guys. So it looks just like this. You can buy them at Best Buy too. They sell one called the Elgato HD Cam Link. It's pretty expensive though. It's about $150 to $160. This one I got for $30 on Amazon's website. When I send you guys the broadcast today, I'll put a link to it. I've used this for 3 or 4 events and it's worked great. I'm going to use this on Saturday. And basically what you do is it's got an HDMI input on one end. So I come out of my Windows computer with one cable. In my Windows computer, I have this little, what's called a USB-C. It's just like if you wanted to set up a second monitor. If you've ever done that, you have a laptop over here and then you hook up a monitor to it. It's exactly the same thing. I'm going to send it out of my computer and into the input on my capture device. And then I'm going to take this USB and I'm going to plug it into my Mac. And I just happen to have an extender so that it doesn't have to be so close. I have a Mac Mini, so all my ports are right next to each other. So I have a little extender so I can make it easier. And this little video capture HDMI little guy takes any video from my, any input from my laptop and basically turns it into a web camera. Super easy. You just plug it in and bingo, you're all set. And so now my auctioneer is set up on my auctioneer scene, and I can just, I've got a video here of, something we pre-recorded. We've got a program of, that we can go to with our auction chairs. I have an appeal screen that's going to show how much money we've raised in real time. That is using a browser input. So I can just click plus browser and I can just paste in any web address I want. It could be YouTube, it could be Netflix, it could be anything, and it'll just put it right into my OBS meeting. And then I can go to my live Zoom call. And that's really it. You just start streaming, and then you can switch between any one of these different scenes. And just like PowerPoint, whichever one you click on is the one that is live, that's broadcasting to your EventStream. So you can see here, I'm still broadcasting, and it's sending it to everybody to look at. So let's say I'm going to actually come back into OBS, and I'm going to switch my auctioneer video capture to my Logitech Brio. So I have a Logitech web camera that I've been using. See if I can, there we go. My web camera is being used by, I think, 3 different applications right now. So it gets a little bit goofy, but here we go. So I'm now instead of choosing the Zoom computer that I'm going to have set up over here, I'm actually now just choosing my Logitech web camera. And so I'm going to call the auction. So let's say it's time for the auction. Excuse me, I'm going to say, okay, folks, we're really excited. We're going to have that auction right now. So everybody go to your phones, and I want you to press the bid live button. So how did I get this bid live button here? So now, again, I'm going to show you, I'm wearing several different hats. When I do these Zoom calls, I have to, wear one hat, then I have to quick put on another hat. So right now, the hat that I have on is an auctioneer assistant. So I'm helping the auctioneer run the live auction. When we work with an auctioneer, typically, we try not to ask for very much from the auctioneer, because it's their job to keep the excitement, keep people motivated and giving and bidding. We don't want them to have to be clicking and doing a bunch of stuff and getting distracted. I want the auctioneer to look straight at the camera, and then maybe just below the camera is a little screen that tells us what's going on. Who's bidding, who just bid on the live auction, who just gave them a fund a need. So I can quick look and keep talking, quick look, keep talking. And so in order to make that happen, I'll have a volunteer, or if I'm running the event, I'll be doing it myself. And I go to the Butler page under that Event Central. That's the menu item 2 down from items. I go to Event Central and I go to Butler. So I launch Butler. We call this the Fisher-Price of the ClickBid admin. And when we do in-person events, this is what we have loaded on volunteer phones to help check people in, swipe cards, all that stuff. And so as the volunteer who's going to turn on and turn off the auction items, I'm going to come down to the EventStream section, and I'm going to choose Manage Your EventStream. The auctioneer is going to choose the second one. They're going to choose the confidence display, because all that is read only, it's view only. There's no buttons to click, nothing. This is just a blow-by-blow account of everything that's happening in the live and the appeal. And then the person who's controlling what the auctioneer sees is going to be inside Manage Your EventStream. So volunteer goes this direction, auctioneer goes this direction. So if I have the auctioneer with a tablet or a phone or a big TV that's in front of them, I would click on this. And then if I'm the volunteer that's running the auction, I'm going to click on this. And so as the volunteer that's running the live and the appeal, this is kind of my command central. I get a feed. I get to watch the feed of the auction, or a feed of the broadcast that's going out in OBS, because somebody else might be running OBS. They might have a volunteer running OBS, and I'm just in charge of this screen in front of me, this, the EventStream page. So I'm actually gonna click the X so that I can stop bidding on anything. So nobody's bidding on anything in the live auction. And at home, I'm putting on my bidder hat. I'm now a bidder in the auction. I'm just watching the broadcast. This is cool. All of a sudden the auctioneer says, all right, folks, let's get ready for the live auction. So we're going to the first item up for bid is going to be the Ford fireworks package. And so when I hear the auctioneer say that, and I've got the hat on of the volunteer, I click on Ford fireworks package. And so what it does is it calls up the Ford fireworks package. Right now I have, because I've been using this demo for other things, I have 2 bidders on this already. But now at home, I get the bid live button. So the system is now identified that somebody's running the event stream. So the auctioneer says, folks, I want you to press that bid live button. So everybody press the bid live button, and it brings up the Ford fireworks package with the mismatched photo. So apparently, let's just pretend that the Ford fireworks package comes with a chef who's going to make a really cool dessert. So then we have the name, the picture, some descriptions if the person at home wants to kind of get a taste of what this is, no pun intended. But yet there's no bidding yet, because the auctioneer's previewing the item. They're saying, all right, folks, this is an amazing opportunity. You're going to go down to the Ford Field House in downtown Detroit. Thanksgiving Day, you're going to watch an incredible fireworks display. You're going to watch the Lions probably lose to just about anybody that they're playing. And we're going to get box seats, right, whatever. They're going to do the auctioneer thing, which is way better than I am. And then the auctioneer is going to say the magic words. We are going to start the bidding at $4,500. Well, we already have 2 bids. So we're going to start the bidding at $5,500. Do I have somebody to get us started at $5,500? When they say that, then the volunteer, switch my hats again. I'm back in the volunteer role. I press start. So now I've opened it up. We're going to start allowing bids right now. And everybody at home gets a blue bid button. And again, at home, switching my hats again as a bidder, I didn't do anything. This is all being controlled by the volunteer. So, all right, cool. I'm going to bid $5,500. I'm now winning. And the auctioneer sees 5,500 come in, and so does the volunteer. The auctioneer says, oh, 5,500, we got a $5,500 bid. Do I see $6,000, $6,000, $6,000? Well, if we were doing an in-person and like a hybrid, in-home and in-person, maybe somebody in the room raises their paddle. So the volunteer sees that somebody raised a paddle, and I say, oh, we got a $6,000 bid. I'd better record that so everybody at home will now be able to bid the next amount. So I'm just going to press floor bid. I'm just going to hit submit. So that went ahead and it saved a floor bid of $6,000. I don't need to know who it is yet. I just need the system to know that it happened. So I went ahead and added that. What that means is everybody at home just got the update. So now, oh crap, I'm bidding at home. I've got the bidder hat on again. Now I'm going to bid $6,500. I want to get back into this. And then as the volunteer, I tell Mr. or Mrs. Auctioneer, I'm showing that there's a $6,500 bid. The auctioneer says, oh, we've got a $6,500 bid, and it's all happening in real time. This page is checking, I think, every 2 seconds for new data. It's constantly pinging our database saying, hey, is there a bid? Hey, is there a bid? Hey, is there a bid? And if there is, it shows us the bid. And so the auctioneer keeps going, 7,000 going once, 7,000 going twice, and sold for $6,500 to Matthew Brunel. Thank you so much. When they say sold, the volunteer, boom, hits the sell button, and that immediately stops bidding. So now I won the item. Awesome. And so now if I go back to OBS, I haven't done anything on the OBS side. I put my hat back on as the engineer that's running OBS. I haven't done anything. I'm just sitting here letting everything broadcast. And so, really that was quick and easy. I didn't have to do anything, because once I've chosen this scene, until I change it, it'll just keep playing it. So now the auctioneer says, okay, folks, let's move on to the next item. The next item up for bid is a signed coffee mug. So as the volunteer running this screen, this is all I'm doing as the volunteer. I'm just running the screen, simple, 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 and I'm listening to the live auctioneer. I could be in the same room as the auctioneer. I could be in a different state, but because I'm watching on this screen and I've got my sound on, I can hear that they're saying, okay, folks, next item up for bid is the signed coffee mug. So I go ahead and click on it to get it up for preview. Everybody at home is listening to the auctioneer. Hey, folks, we're up for the next item. It's going to be the signed coffee mug, and bingo. Now it's the signed coffee mug. That just happened. I didn't have to click anything. It automatically switches. And so this obviously doesn't have any details. I didn't type anything in and I didn't add a picture, which you definitely should do. But again, we're in preview mode. The auctioneer's talking up the signed mug. Folks, this is an amazing signed mug, signed by Jeff Bezos himself. 2 days before he announced he was stepping down as CEO at Amazon. You've got to get this mug. We'll even give you a year's supply of Starbucks coffee sent to you from Amazon Prime. And so folks, we want to start the bidding. Let's start the bidding at $3,000. And remember, I set $2,000, but the auctioneer might have changed their mind and said, this is too good to pass up, folks. We need to start the bidding at $3,000. So as the volunteer, I'm like, oh, better put a 3,000 in there, and we're going to start it. So now at home, I get my blue button as the bidder, put my hat on, and I have $3,000 that I can bid on, because the volunteer, again, is controlling everything. They're controlling how much the next bid is. If the auctioneer says $3,250, folks, we're going to go big or go home. Let's do $3,500 is our next bid. I press a button to add $250 to the next bid. So now we're at $3,500. And again, I did that so that everybody at home can bid $3,500. $3,500. I'm going to bid $3,500, folks. This is amazing. So then the auctioneer, the volunteer, again, the system is just constantly checking the database. Is there new data? Is there new data? And so we have $3,500, and then we keep going once, going twice. Oh, we've got a floor bid. Somebody raised their paddle at the event, the 200 people that are there. We've got a floor bid for $4,000. $4,500, folks. That's our next bid. Going once, going twice, and sold to the guy in the room. And so I sell it. Now notice we've just placed a floor bid. I call it a floor bid, and it's a placeholder. I don't know who it is. I have to go out into the room. You get people to sign a contract. Sometimes when you do in-person live auctions, we get their bidder number, and then they bring it back to me and they say, Matt, that bidder number was 111. So I go ahead and click on this little person with a pencil, and I type in 111. And as long as that bidder number exists, it did. Excuse me. Now it went to testing cell. It must have been a test person that I'm working on, I guess. So testing cell just won the coffee mug for $4,000, which basically means now when that person checks out, they're going to pay $4,000 for that item, and they can pay for it from their phone. So we have a question here. If no one makes an opening bid, can a bidder send in an offer bid lower than the start price, or do we need to lower the opening bid in the system? So what happens if I start an item and it's just crickets? We grossly overestimated everybody's interest level in this item. So we have a chat feature, part of the mass messaging service. You see down here when it's activated, there's a little chat icon. I can go ahead and pop this open, and I can say, hey, if I can learn to type, I'll give you 1,000. And so that goes into the chat, and then it comes in here. Oh, I must not have logged in, or I'm already logged in as another. So it didn't register. I must be logged into a different chat service. It would say, I'll give you 1,000. And then both I see that and the auctioneer sees that. So then it's really up to the auctioneer to say, okay, perfect. I have a bid. Looks like we have somebody here willing to pay $1,000. If we're gonna lower this to $1,000, what would have to happen is, again, the volunteer who's running the screen, because I am, as the volunteer, I got that hat on, I'm in control of everything that's happening in this live item. We only want one person to be using this screen. So that's important to remember. Only one person should be on this screen, because you don't want two people competing for what's going on. You want anybody else who wants to watch what's going on, you want them to be on the confidence display, which is this screen right here, which, since I've closed the auction item, there is no data. But if I were to go ahead and let me resubmit, if I were to pop open this weekend in Detroit and start the bidding, and then if I were the auctioneer and I had the confidence display, I would see weekend in Detroit package. And as soon as somebody places a bid, I'm going to see that person's name come up. This screen you can have open on 10 different computers, TVs, or whatever, because nothing happens on this except data coming back to the people watching it. You only want one person using this screen right here, because if I'm using it and somebody else is using it and we're all pressing buttons, then the system gets completely confused and people can bid and they can't bid, because nobody, you want one person in control. So I would lower, if somebody said, hey, I'll give you, $1,000, I would type in $1,000, and then that'll lower the bid. And then perfect. Now that person at home who said they'll give you 1,000 would slam on that $1,000 button, and bingo, now we've got the first $1,000 bid. So if the item closes and nobody bids on it, and then they send you a chat and say, I would love to buy this for $1,000, because we've seen that in person, silent auction items. Once the auction's over, people say, well, what didn't get bids? I'll buy something. You can add a bid later after the event. If you want to make a deal with somebody and you're willing to sell it for $1,000, some of your live items might have consignment amounts that you need to stay above in order to make a profit. So, it's really up to you and how that, how everything works with your actual auction. All right, so questions as they come up. We had the one, that was a very good one. One thing I will say is I do, while you're thinking about some questions, you definitely, some definite gotchas that you want to be careful of is always do a dry run with your event. You always want to do a test. So here's a great example. So the event that I'm doing tomorrow or Saturday is open. People can bid right now. And I want to run my videos on the broadcast just like I am here, but I don't want everybody to see me goofing around trying to play videos. So how do I do that? So you might have caught it on this page here under Event Central Live Broadcast. You saw the video privacy settings. I have three options. It's public, which, pretty self-explanatory, means everybody can watch it. You can filter on bidders, or you can filter on table assignments. So if I filter on bidders, I can type in a couple of bidder numbers that I want people to that I want for people to see it. So let's say I've got a board chair and the coordinator is bidder 102 and bidder 103. That means that when I'm broadcasting and when I'm running the live auction, the only two bidder numbers that are ever going to see the video and are ever going to be able to bid in the live are these two bidder numbers. If you want to filter, if you've got more than that, let's say you're doing a VIP, or a happy hour. So you've got 100 people of your 500 that can watch a 1 hour VIP. Maybe there's a Zoom meeting with Jeff Bezos, keeping this thing going. And he's going to talk to the people who paid $500 extra to be a part of that. Then what you could do is you could filter on tables. And I have a table called Grape. And in your manage bidders, notice I have table assignments, and I'm just going to filter. See, I have 7 people that have a great table assignment. That means the only people that can watch the video right now and participate in the live auction are these 7 people. That's it. So one thing you do need to be careful of is, in your excitement for filtering on tables and bidder numbers, is that when you're ready to go live, make sure to switch this back to public, or else that's all that's going to happen, is those people are going to see it the whole night. You'll probably get a call or a chat or something that says, I can't see. So then that's the first clue. Look at your privacy settings to make sure. Like I said, we're rolling out an update next week where I try to make that more obvious, with a message on the landing page of your admin. When you log in, there'll be a big red text message here that says you're filtering your video stream. Click here to view settings. So that way you'll always know, like, oh, that's right, I got to remember to change that. So we have a question. What are the options when you click plus under the scenes? Perfect. So back over to OBS, when you're creating scenes, a scene is only a scene. That's all it is. It's a placeholder for stuff you're about to put in. So let's say I wanted to make a scene called, well, I am going to actually have to make a scene at the end. It's going to be called teacher photos. So this is where I would give it a name. When I click the plus, give it a name, hit OK. And now it's going to create an empty scene where I can put all my sources in it. In this example, I want to put in a, where did it go? Media source. This is going to be a file on my hard drive that I want to play. It's going to be a video. Now, one note or tip about playing videos on your computer out to the world, make sure that those videos are not stored on a cloud drive or on a USB stick. Make sure they're sitting directly on your hard drive. That is going to be the fastest medium to get that data out to the web, because it's all about how fast your computer can send video to Millicast, to our event service or EventStream service. So if it has to pull it first from a cloud drive down to your computer, encode it, and send it to the web, it could have problems. If it's trying to play a YouTube video on your computer before it sends it to the EventStream service, that could also be an issue. And the same with a USB stick, because it has to pull it from the USB stick through your computer's bus onto the hard drive and then out. So always put those files on your hard drive. We did have a situation where when we were testing, thankfully, we discovered that they had files, but they were sitting on iCloud. And so iCloud was having to download them and then play them. So I had them download all their iCloud files. Google Drive can do that too sometimes. It's a little obnoxious. I did want to show you one other thing. I mentioned it earlier. In the appeal, you noticed how I had the grand total and a couple of thank you names in that. So if I go to my auction items and I type fund, and I get rid of my other tag here, fund a future. This is the appeal item that the auctioneer is going to call. I've created an item. I'm going to set it to active. I'm going to set it to close to tomorrow or whenever. So that way it's open. I'm going to change the item type to donation. I'm going to add 4 denominations, 5,000, 2,500, and so on. Then I'm going to come down to display settings, and I'm going to set some settings. I want my custom background, which is this little star pattern that I uploaded. I do want to use the thermometer. I don't want to show my goal, but I need to have a goal in order for the thermometer to work. So my goal is 50,000. I do want to show donor names, no on the sponsors, and then no on including text to give. And so when I've got these set, I can go ahead and click on this shareable link. It's a web page that automatically loads the appeal. So you can see here, it's showing total raised, thanks to our donors. I could take this web address and email it to all my friends, and they could all see the exact same thing that I'm seeing. Just like OBS can. If I go back to that appeal, I clicked on plus under the sources, and I chose browser as an option. And inside the browser, I pasted that URL that I copied. And then I allowed it to, I hit OK. Now I scaled it up so that you didn't see the thermometer. But let's say I want to go back to my auctioneer and I'm doing the auction. and I want to add another browser, and I want to use the existing browser page that I had, and then I'm going to use my crop, and I'm getting super technical here. I'm going to crop it, and I'm going to put it right there. And I'm going to say, folks, look at this. We're already at our goal. Why are we even doing an appeal? We're already at 100% of our goal. So now I've layered a browser element with my live auctioneer who's calling the auction. And so that, that's how you can layer things. There's some even more advanced options if you want to go to our corporate site. I get super fancy. And then if you go to virtual event resources, I'm really pushing my internet right now with all the stuff I got going. But if I come down here, I have a couple tutorials that might be useful. How to add a PowerPoint to open broadcasting, how to use Skype. Now I know how I said you can use Zoom. You set up a separate laptop, turn on and set up your Zoom meeting, send that to your OBS computer. Skype actually uses a different service to share video. You can actually run Skype right on the same computer as OBS. I said that was a no-no. Skype is the only exception. If you wanted to send out a Skype call to all your friends, have them call in, and you can use Skype to add to OBS. And this tutorial shows you how to do it. Then I have a tutorial down here for floating thermometers. So if I want my thermometer in OBS, but I don't want this background, how can I do that? How can I just have the thermometer or just have the grand total floating underneath my picture? And so that tutorial right here is going to show you how to do it. A little, spoiler alert, what you would do is just use a solid color as your background instead of this gradient. And then in OBS, you can use filters to create a chroma key. It's like a green screen. You can get rid of everything green. Bingo, now you've got a floating thermometer. So yeah, the sky's the limit really when it comes to broadcasting. But what I will say, probably in closing, we're right up against 3 o'clock, is the simpler the better, especially for your first time out. One of the best events that we ever did last summer was for Community Foundation of Northern Virginia, and they pre-produced, paid a production company to make a 45-minute video. Notice how I have, 10 different scenes in here, and I actually broadcast it for them as a favor, which, I sometimes can be convinced to do if you need help. And you have just a single video that you want to play. I had a waiting screen, and then I had their entire program. All I did the entire night was I hit start streaming, and then I clicked to their countdown. That was it. Because once it was done playing the countdown, the whole video was embedded. So it was just countdown, program, and then we were out to black. That was it. So and it was awesome. I mean, it was high production value, good quality. They had it edited to a perfect time. They knew exactly how long it was going to be, and so low maintenance. They put all their time in up front building it, and then they just hit play. That was it. That's probably the easiest way if you're worried about, trying to mix all these formats together. You can avoid all that by pre-producing. The end user is going to see a two-dimensional. They're going to see a two-dimensional image on the screen, and they're not really going to know one way or the other if it's being made live or if it was produced 2 weeks ago. They're just going to enjoy it like everybody else. So it's live because I'm broadcasting it, but it was pre-recorded and it's got a perfect timing and everything. So that's a really great way to reduce a lot of your stress, is to just pre-produce and hit play. All right, well, there we have it. We're right at 3 o'clock. I'll stick around for just a few more minutes. I will have to bounce right at 3, but I will send you guys all a copy of this, and then it'll have my email. Feel free to reach out with any questions. I really want these events to go successful for you guys. So I'm always happy to jump on a call, to do a screen share, to see what you have set up in OBS, answer questions, audio questions, all sorts of, any kind of goofy thing that you're dealing with. I'm happy to help. So I hope you guys have a great afternoon. Hopefully it's warmer wherever you are than where it is here at a balmy 20 degrees, Michigan. So, all right. Thanks a lot, folks.